My name is Chris, and today I stand before you as a survivor of my own choices. Full of guilt and shame, I openly declare I'm an alcoholic. What truly defines one as an alcoholic? Esteemed Toastmaster, cherished Toastmasters, honored guests. What truly defines one as an alcoholic is continuing to drink, even as it affects our bodies, our relationships, our very lives. I wish to share with you my story, my journey to this moment of vulnerability and strength. When reflecting on my younger years, I remember the sweetness of unwinding with a drink after a particularly relentless day. I realized, but as the days turned into years, I realized something more sinister was happening. It took not just one drink, but increasingly more to grasp that fleeting sense of relief. I have wrestled with this dark spirit for far too long, convincing myself I'm a moderate drinker, desperately clinging to justifications like chains around my soul. No trauma. I had a job. I had a loving family. I didn't drink during the day hours. Surely I was okay, right? But deep down, I was baffled. I didn't understand how someone could just have a drink and be good, or even just to not finish a drink, leave it there. I tried to figure this out, and I came to the point, honestly, I was pissed. Why can someone have a drink and just be good and I can't? Then that anger turned inward on myself. What is wrong with me? Why am I so broken? I found myself needing another, caught in a relentless spiral. In my youth, alcohol was my confidant, soothing my jangling nerves. But soon, it demanded more and more from me. I paid the toll of waking up in a haze, believing that a racing heart and a foggy head were just the price of admission. I remember the one time I blacked out, and it absolutely terrified me. My wife, Karen, in her gentle love, recently asked me, after hearing when I was coming up with my speech here, why I was never able to confide this in her. The truth is, I kept my truths hidden. I was afraid that she would demand I stop drinking. It felt to me insurmountable. What if I lost her? What if I lost the kids? It would unravel my precarious existence. It was a tightrope act every day. I can't forget that one day in the liquor store, my wife was pushing a cart brimming with alcohol that was meant for several months. I remember standing there in embarrassment as the clerk innocently asked, "Are you having a party?" No, no party. All this alcohol is for one willing captive, me, a party of one. I've committed acts that fill me with shame, things I never thought I was capable of. I would sneak away to drink when my wife went up to bed, pretending that I wasn't tired. But really, the darkness was beckoning me. She had her suspicions that something was awry. Every once in a while, when she would come home, she would catch the aroma of alcohol on my breath. It was constantly a juggling act when we would get months' supply of alcohol, and I had to explain to her each time why she felt like it seemed like it went so quick as to why it did. And I turned into an accountant. X number of days, equals X numbers a drink equals Y, I need more alcohol. We have a fridge outside that would stock water and soda for us. I would actually a lot of times take a drink of either a can of sparkling water or a can of soda. I would add whiskey or vodka, whatever I had available, to it and come in the house. And of course, I held on to that drink with my dear life. I would fill up my glass in the shadows and drink deeply, convincing myself that escape could be found at the bottom of the glass. During COVID, when we were sent home, that idea terrified me. It had good reason to. On October 22nd, 2022, I finally took that monumental leap. The last day I consumed alcohol. At first, I felt like I was lost, scrounging for anything that would mimic that feeling of bliss. I resorted to wine coolers and cheap wine like a kid in a candy store. That particular day, we had bought a bunch of wine from the store, and I could not wait all afternoon to get into those bottles. One bottle soon turned into two. Karen looked on, concerned, painting her features. She knew something wasn't right. She went outside to take a look. I heard her open up the fridge. I heard her shifting the bottles around. I heard her looking through the trash can. I was absolutely panicked. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What lie can I come up? Surely I can convince her. Maybe we bought one less. Maybe I had an old bottle that was lying around that I had thrown away. And that's what she was seeing. And then a thought came in. Good. Good. I'm tired. I don't want to be on this roller coaster anymore. It felt like she was outside forever. When she finally came in to confront me, which I knew she would, I finally admitted to her, I have a problem. I can't stop. I need help. Even with temptation lurking around the corner, I continuously remind myself that one drink will never satiate the void. I also remember I didn't particularly like that person that I was. Sure, there's temptations every day. I was at a baseball game. The person next to me sat there with a draft beer, and the aroma, that's so good. But I knew I can't have any. You watch TV, movies, everyone's sitting around having drinks. But I just remind myself, that's not true life. They can't have those lifestyles and drink like they do in that. One of the biggest tests I have, my mother-in-law lived with us for a year and a half. That, my friends, is a true trial by fire. But in all, remaining steadfast, knowing one poor choice can throw me back into the darkness. While I carry the remorse of my past actions, I wear this journey with pride. To be clear, I don't see alcohol as inherently evil, but I know that a sober me is the truest version of myself. My name is Chris. I am an alcoholic, Madam Toastmaster.
Riley Driggs, a not so normal normal school. A not so normal normal school, Riley Driggs.
When I was 8 years old, my dad and his twin brother went on a little brotherly bonding trip to a little town in the mountains of Idaho and came back that day with the proud owners of a couple dozen acres and a normal school campus on it. A couple months later, we had sold our house and moved to Albion, Idaho. Population 556. Miles away from any sort of civilization. It was a strange little town without a gas station or a grocery store or a restaurant or practically anything else of note, except for one thing, the Albion State Normal School, which, thanks to my dad and his twin brother's little trip, was now owned by our families. As a kid, I always thought it was ironic to call it a normal school because Albion State Normal School was anything but normal. I mean, how can you call a school that had been abandoned 100 years prior, became the home to a commune of hippies, and then abandoned again, be called normal? My parents cleared up the confusion, though, explaining that a normal school is just an old-fashioned way of saying that it's a college that is specific for training teachers. Of course, that doesn't negate the rest of its bizarre history. But where I saw a bunch of creepy, decrepit buildings, my dad and his brother saw an amazing opportunity. Their plan was to renovate the 6 buildings to become bustling, historic family reunion centers. That was the plan. Until we started the initial cleanup. As we began getting deeper and deeper into the buildings, clearing mountains of debris, we started to feel like we were being watched. Of course, my family is not superstitious, but there was a large percentage of the town of 256 people that believed that Albion State Normal School was haunted. So just in case, we decided to call in the state-funded Ghost Hunters of Idaho, which is a real thing, by the way. And my dad decided it was an amazing opportunity to roll up some publicity and let people know what they were doing with the college up there. I should also note my dad is a bit of a prankster. So a couple days before the Ghost Hunters came into town for their scheduled paranormal activity sweep, my dad bought an Airzuka. If you have never seen an Airzuka, it's kind of like a slingshot, except for it has a giant barrel, a handle, and then a rubber part that you can pull back and shoot air at people from about 50 feet away. In just a couple of days, there was some very dedicated ghost hunters that arrived, and they started measuring everything. They were measuring heat signatures. They were measuring electromagnetic fields in the area. And there was even a point where they held up a candle ever so carefully to see if it flickered in just the right way. And of course, bullseye. One of the ghost hunters screams, "Did you guys feel that?" Pretty soon, the whole team had felt a very distinct paranormal gust of air and had all come to the conclusion that Albion State Normal School was in fact haunted. After they left, me and my family were having a good laugh in one of the buildings when we heard an unfamiliar laugh behind us. We turned around wide-eyed, and to our surprise, the ghost hunters were right all along. There was a man floating there named Terry, who was a tortured soul who wanted to be a businessman but was forced in his life to go learn to be a teacher. After a couple of talks with my dad and his twin brother, they decided, this is our golden opportunity. Why do a reunion center when we could do a haunted house? And so they went into business with Terry the Ghost. And to this day, Albion Haunted Mansions is one of the largest and most successful haunted houses west of the Mississippi. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.